Gabby Petito's family have just won the right to sue Brian Laundrie's parents. Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. So this kind of raises a couple of questions. When did the Laundries know that Gabby had died? How did they find out, and what did they do after they found out? So when we follow the legal narrative, it appears that the Petito's counsel knows, has reason to know, or suspects that the Laundries knew about Gabby's murder as early as one day later. Gabby likely died on the afternoon or evening of August 27th. That was the day she was last seen. Remember, she was seen at midday at around lunchtime, I think around about 2 p.m. at the Merry Piglets. And so it's possible she died some hours after that, or perhaps in the early morning hours of August 28th. And so the suit that the Petito family have won is really centering around the course of conduct, in the words of their attorney, that the Laundries committed from when they learned on August 28th. Right? These are the words from the Petito attorney. From when the Laundries learned on August 28 that their son had killed Gabby Petito. As per usual, I'll provide a link to the source of this information in the description, but we also want to take it a little bit further and try and figure out how did the Laundries know about this. But before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do like, share, leave a comment. Bear in mind, on the 2nd of July, which is the anniversary of the beginning of the summer epic, I'm going to be continuing with another episode of the Moab incident. Also, if you're interested in TCRS merch, some new merch has just been made available, so I'll put a link to that in the description. Check that out as well. And let's get started. So the only way Brian's parents could have possibly known what had happened to Gabby is if Brian told them via text or social media messaging. There's no way the media could have alerted them or any other way, because the media didn't even know about it at this point. And so if there was a message from Brian, did this message, if indeed it occurred, did it include an allusion to the same scenario in that 8-page confession? Is it the same? Was it an accident? Or was it Gabby succumbing to exposure, right? Now, according to the article, quote, Judge Carroll appeared to agree with Riley, that's the Petito attorney, when he threw out the Laundries' request to dismiss the lawsuit, saying their actions did not help the desperate Petitos. And so these were the words of the judge. Judge Carroll said, if the facts of this case truly were about silence, with no affirmative act by the Laundries, the court would have resolved this case in the Laundries' favor on the concept of legal duty. But this is the part that's important. But they did not stay silent, right? The Laundries did not stay silent. This is really interesting. The Laundries did have a right to remain silent, but the legal reality is they violated their own right when they made a statement. And what they said when they broke their silence matters, or appears to, given the wider context, at least according to the way Pat Riley, the Petito's lawyer, has put it. Riley said in court, I guess it's okay to kick someone when they're down, according to the Laundries. Riley also said, it is believed and therefore averred that on or about August 28, 2021, Brian Laundrie advised his parents, Christopher and Roberta, that he had killed Gabrielle Petito. End quote. Now, how do they know? How do they know it's August 28? Take note, it's not some general swathe of the timelines like between August 27th and September 19. It's very specific. But it could also be via inference, because on that date, August 28th, which was a Saturday, the Laundries suddenly spoke with their attorney out of the blue. Coincidence? In true crime, there's usually no such thing. And since commerce and the intercourse that surrounds it typically plays out during the working week, it does feel like a case of where there's smoke, there's fire, doesn't it? Going back to the article, it says, quote, On that same date, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie spoke with attorney Steve Bertolino, that's August 28th, the Saturday, and then sent him a retainer on September 2nd, 2021, about 4 days later. That was obviously a day or so after Brian had returned home in Gabby's van. Now, the retainer aspect so soon also feels like added reinforcement, doesn't it? Now, going back to the article, quote, Riley and the Petito's other attorneys added that from August 27 to September 19, when Gabby Petito's remains were found at the Spade Creek dispersed camping area, that was on September 19, Gabby's parents were extremely distraught in trying to locate her. While Gabby's parents and family were suffering, the Laundrie family went on vacation to Fort DeSoto Park on September 6 to 7, 2021. They went on vacation knowing that Brian Laundrie killed Gabby, and it is believed they also knew where her body was located. Now, how would they know where? Well, only if they knew where Brian was and only if he told them. So the question is, will call records, metadata, or digital breadcrumbs bear this out? Now, according to the legal counsel for the Petitos, in an effort to avoid any contact with Nicole Schmidt, that's Gabby's mother, on or about September 10th, 2021, Roberta Laundrie blocked Nicole Schmidt on her cellular phone such that neither phone nor text could be delivered, and she blocked her on Facebook. So you may have a right to remain silent, but that blocking constitutes a certain kind of action, which also constitutes a certain kind of psychology. There's a certain intent going on there. And then according to the information from the Petito Council, they say, with full knowledge that Gabby had been killed, they issued a statement to their lawyer expressing the hope that Gabby would be located. And then this is what they say is beyond outrageous, right? And there's a legal standard for that statement or for that claim, to act in a way that is beyond outrageous. And when that happens, you can file for damages. You can file a lawsuit for damages. And so Judge Carroll wrote in his decision, he wrote, because the Laundrie statement by their attorney in the context of the unique faces of this case, which I think is another way of saying merits, is objectively outrageous, the court concludes that plaintiffs, that's the Petitos, have stated causes of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress against the Laundries. I think you've also got to bear in mind that Gabby was someone they knew very well, ought to have cared about, was very close to their son, and if they knew about what was going on with their son, and their son was very close to a potential daughter-in-law, they ought to have known. There's a sort of sense that they should have known a lot more. It may be too soon to know for sure, but this ruling may pave the way for additional discovery to be released. It may have been released anyway, but this includes Roberta's burn after reading letter, but may also include other aspects that we simply haven't known details about, such as the contents of Brian's phone, which you could get through call records, and also Brian's call records, but also the actual contents of Brian's phone. And there's also the second confession, which provides an alternative scenario, which is on a digital device as opposed to written down. And so what is that digital device? Well, presumably Brian's phone. It'll be very interesting to know more about what Rose Davis, Gabby's best friend, knows as well. She gave an early interview and then hasn't said much since, probably for legal reasons. To conclude, the Laundries have played a clever legal chess game so far that has allowed them to avoid accounting for their strange behavior during the infamous summer of 2021. But that may be about to change. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.